Welcome to Freshly Spoiled with Monique and Ryan.
Hi.
Um, we just watched Anora,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Point to Anora.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to. I guess it had a theater run in, big theaters, but I think we missed it. I think it came and went, so we had the chance. We could have gone and seen it locally at an AMC or something, but we missed that opportunity. So we had to go into Brooklyn to Nighthawk, which I was happy. I've never been to a Nighthawk, and I've heard about it for a long time, so I was happy to get to go.
Yeah.
This was a good excuse to get to go do that.
Yeah, it was a cool theater.
Yeah, good food.
Yes.
We talked about the seats don't recline. You get so used to these big theaters that the seats recline that you go to these cinephile type theaters, and they're not really based on making you comfortable. It's based on making you, the best possible scenario for watching these movies, which is nice. So, would this have been a movie that you chose to go see?
No.
No.
Not.
I wonder if it was.
I probably would have just overlooked it.
Yeah, so this was is going to be like an Oscar nomination movie. So I thought we should, and again, we should see this one. And I don't know if I would have got to see it either, which is funny because spoiler alert to this spoiler is I loved it.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. So I think I like Sean Baker, what he does, the director. I've seen a couple of his other movies, and I think maybe with the trailer with this seemed like it was not something that drew me in. I thought like, okay, this is one of these big, I feel like I've seen movies like this before, and I get what they were doing with it, but the trailer didn't draw me in. But
Yeah.
I've been hearing that it's going to be in the running for Best Picture, and like we said in the last episode, I'm approaching these as if nobody's seen any of these before, because somebody's, you know what I mean? So if I'm reiterating myself, I'm going to slow down. So I want to get ahead of these Oscar movies. So I thought enough people are talking about this in contention for different categories. So we should check it off before it's, there's a mad rush. And like I said, I'm happy we did. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't even sure if I was loving it for the first 45 minutes.
I was
half hour,
I
45
was
minutes.
not. Like, it was like partying and drugs and like just like really like, this is gonna sound horrible. It was just like too much of a good time, like over and over. I was like, all right, I get
Right.
it. You're partying, you're rich. Like,
But
cool.
you knew,
But
like, did you know much about the plot going into it?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I knew it was about a sex worker who, well, that's what I thought. It was about a sex worker who fell in love with like one of her clients.
Okay.
But
That was the extent of what.
yeah, that's
okay.
really all
What
I
were you
knew.
gonna say before?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so I knew that there was that second element to it. So I was waiting for this other foot to drop. With all the good time, I knew, I knew that there was okay. It's going to come to an end, and there's going to be a problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, I figured there.
Storytelling.
Yeah, like what's the point of this? Okay, great.
Right, of course.
But yeah, once that kind of, like, I think when they like started talking about like marriage and stuff, and then like it got more serious into that, and then it switched real quick to, well,
yeah. Once his family got involved,
yeah,
it was a much better, a more interesting story.
yeah,
I thought the same thing. That partying lifestyle makes me uneasy. I was watching it going like I've never been a partier to begin with, but even if I look at like how long could I possibly do that before I'm like I gotta get
Yeah.
home.
yeah,
I gotta get back to. I thought it was funny that like his little entourage that he had there of like I guess they were all Russians, but like American Russians. But they all had day jobs. Usually somebody with that much money, like they pay people to just stay around them all the time.
yeah.
Like you just hand their friends money. But it's like no, they have to
hung out
still
with,
go. You got to go to your little candy
Working
store.
class people, yeah.
Store. Not, like you can come hang out with me if you want, but yeah. I thought that was funny and interesting. I thought a super realistic look at in the beginning of strip clubs. I thought that was funny. It was like funny to see behind the scenes of the strip club and how the girls talk about the clients. You know, it's been done before. You know, it's been talked about and been represented in movies before. But she did a good job. I thought she was a great, a great performance all the way through. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Like that
Um,
accent, like super thick accent. I mean, but realistic sounding. If like living on Long Island, I've known people that sound like that.
hmm
You know, maybe a little exaggerated, but
Yeah. But it
yeah,
was good.
believable.
I liked when he was what was his name? Some Russian name. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, that's the thing. It was if in the credits, it's I
For the
wrote down in
character.
my notes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But the credits is they called them even or
Oh,
Ivan,
Yvonne, right.
but it's just Ivan, which to me is Ivan. And
Yeah.
like Ivan is a Russian name, so I was confused as to why they weren't just calling him Ivan.
hmm
Because I think in the credits, which is annoying that they oh I'm on her page. They list the credits by order of appearance, which I always hate when they do, because that's like not what you want. Um,
So Yvonne,
there we
I
go.
thought it was funny when he was
Yeah,
trying to mock her, like when he was trying
yeah,
to talk
yeah,
like her.
uh-huh.
I thought that was
Yeah.
cute.
But yeah, I don't know why they were pronouncing it that. Like it's like I said, it says there in the credits Ivan, isn't that Ivan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
but maybe that's how Americans pronounce it, so
Right.
it actually is pronounced that way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure they did their research. And like just some dumb Long Island guys like, that's not how you say that. And like, okay. Are you Russian? No? Okay. Maybe we'll do the pronunciations then. Um I don't know where to start here because I started writing notes, which is highly against the rules of Nighthawk.
Taking
But
your phone out.
we were sitting in the back row and up against the wall, and I was being pretty, you know, I felt like I wasn't disturbing anybody. Right? I feel
Yeah.
like I looked around,
We were the only people in the row.
I assessed
And
the situation. Only
yeah.
people in the row, everybody in front of us. My screen is on very dark, so anybody that's about to come after me, and so I started writing notes when his family started to get involved. But up until then, I didn't have much, notes. But um, we can start there, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I mean, my favorite part, I think, was when when the people came into the house and were trying to get them to leave and come with them to get the
Or to
annulment.
keep them there, or whatever.
Yeah, right. They were no, yeah, right. They were trying to keep her there,
Yeah.
and just that whole part with her screaming and overreacting, like it was like you could watch it and like look at it seriously,
Yeah.
but it was just so comical and so funny,
Yeah.
like and loud and just like it was great.
Yeah.
That was like really good.
I thought that was great. And that was when I started writing notes. It was really, but I love the idea of like the two. I'm gonna call them goons.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
I feel like that's I don't know. The trying to corral a woman without hurting her is so difficult. Like, and you didn't get the feeling like they did a really good job making it seem like they're not bad, like they're not super evil bad guys. They're not going to hurt
They
this
weren't trying
woman.
to be like
They were trying to protect her because they
Yeah.
know how bad these people are and how like they're like your best chance of staying safe is to stay here. Like we're trying to protect her, and it's like an argument can be made. Never touch a woman. You let her do, but it's like they're in the position. Their job is to keep her there. So how do they do that, but without hurting her? So when you try to they're stronger than her, obviously. If they wanted to keep her there, they punch her in the face and it's done and
I
they
was
keep her there.
expecting that. I was waiting for them to do that, especially when she started screaming.
Right.
I was like, "Oh my god, this guy's gonna knock her out!"
Right.
And they didn't.
So it's funny. Yeah.
They gagged her, but they didn't like.
Yeah, they gagged her. They did, they did everything but like do real damage to her.
Yeah.
So they did a good job of,
Even with the tying up, they took the phone,
yeah.
a phone cord,
Yeah.
and like it was like softly around her wrists, like
yeah. So yeah, like I'm saying, if those two guys wanted to stop her, they could stop her, but they were trying to do it in a gentle way, and they did a good job representing that. And that paints those characters in a certain light.
Mhm.
And then really the one guy, the bald goon,
Mhm.
um, I thought was just a great job acting, like to paint a picture of a guy who's you could see right in the beginning he's a nice guy. Like the things they did with him
Mhm.
early on, were like, oh, he's a guy who doesn't really doesn't really like this lifestyle. He doesn't like doing this stuff. And he said hi to her when there was just him and her. He was like,
Yeah.
hey, and like you could tell he was. I guess that was his birthday. Um, so that makes you like him right away. Like they did a good job making you like him right away, and you trusted that he was like a good guy. And then at some point in this, um, in my notes here, I wrote early on her and that gentle goon would make a good couple. They seem like, and I guess they had maybe it's not a great leap to that I came to, but I did think like when they were together a couple times early on, I'm like, oh, like they kind of like they seem like
Yeah.
he's got eyes for
Yeah,
her a
I
little
thought
bit,
that
and
too.
yeah,
Like,
like they're um oh
and
yeah,
because he was the one who was controlling her, or trying to control her.
yeah,
In that fight.
right.
Yeah.
I wish that there was a conversation when he proposed about so like she got wrapped up in the money of this thing, so she said yes because she was attracted to the money of it.
Mhm.
She didn't.
I think it
He
showed them having a good time. Like they were laughing and they got along, and
yeah,
they could hang out. It wasn't just about the money, but yes, definitely, I feel like the
yeah,
money,
but
because even when she was like, the ring, like
yeah,
you
which
have to spend a certain amount, and like.
paints her in a little bit of a bad light to me. It's like, all right, but you are still getting married just because he's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't have that money, there's no chance that
Mhm.
she's just marrying this guy, you know.
Mhm.
But she's, in her job is a job that's geared towards making the most money. Like that's it's a hustler's job. So that's obviously was important to her. So yeah, she would jump all over that. And to be like, okay, yeah, I get all this money, I get this house, and he's not that bad. Like I don't mind hanging out with him.
Mhm.
Like maybe she even grew to like his company. So
Yeah.
it's okay, yeah, this seems like a pretty good life.
Mhm.
But to think that she would not see that this might be a flash in the pan type of thing,
Right.
like has to know he doesn't really have this money. Like this is this is his parents' money,
Mhm.
and he does have to live by their rules.
I think it was a lot of almost blind in like intentional blindness. Like she didn't
Yeah,
necessarily want to even think about anything other than, okay, he's rich, he wants to marry me, I could have a really good life, and like just kind of not asking any follow-up questions to what he's saying, just kind of going along with it,
yeah.
and that led her to get into trouble.
Because if she asks questions, then she has to face the fact that this isn't really
That's not his
this not
house. That
yeah right.
Yeah, his bedroom is down the hall
And
with
she
spaceships
once
on it.
yeah once they got married, it was like, when can I meet your parents?
Yeah, right. Like it wasn't even like, oh, before we get married, maybe I should meet your family or whatever. It was
Yeah,
like, yeah.
um, yeah. The party was enough, and
Mhm.
yeah. Any other notes? Let's see. um,
I liked the comedic, like, I feel
oh
like it was
yeah,
a real serious movie, and but they like had a lot of humor in it,
yeah.
subtle. Like one of the goons, the darker haired one, he was so funny.
He
He
was
was
funny. Yeah,
just so
I did not expect
so
him to be.
dopey
I
and
did not
like.
expect him early on to be a comedic relief
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
role.
Mm-mm.
He seemed like he was going to be a heavy,
Yeah.
and it turns out he was like totally comedic relief. Like he was the comedic relief for the movie
Yeah.
for the most part. I mean, everybody, even Toro was his name.
Mhm.
Even he had funny moments
Yeah.
in it.
Well,
But
I think that was like the beginning of it too, with him in
leaving
the
the
church.
baptism.
Yeah, he was like, I guess, a priest, right?
I
Or
think
I
just
don't
a
know what he
father. I
was.
think just yeah, maybe a father, a grandfather, maybe.
Oh, I don't know. He was in like a cloak or
Yeah, but he
whatever,
was next to a younger woman
with
with
a
the baby, and
Yeah.
I think I
It was
think
an
he was.
important role in the baptism,
Yeah,
and he just walked out. He was
Yeah.
like, I gotta go. Sorry.
And he was like, my family's never going to talk to me. And then when that guy threw up in his car,
Oh God.
he was like, my wife has to drive this car tomorrow,
Right.
which I thought was such a real life problem. Like, that he's
Yeah.
still considering,
Yeah.
like, I got to deal with my wife on top of that. Like,
Mhm.
I thought that was such a funny little thing to be like, this guy's afraid of everybody in his life. Like, he's got this job that's got constant stress to him, and his family's going to come down on him.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, like, this is my wife's car. She's gonna drive this tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
like that's an actual like person, like a real person problem. While he's but that the line though I thought was so funny when that guy first really was funny when he was I'll have you arrested for theft and for this and it goes and he goes assault. He's like assault. Like he was like like
Good, she
he like
kicked
yeah
him in the face.
yeah he was like you assault yeah. I wrote down here a lot of these things when I write down. I'm like, these aren't really worth mentioning, but I wish they picked up the lamp. They were sitting there like she's
yeah.
like strapped to she's hands are tied up, but the lamp is just on the. I don't care what
didn't add
state. I don't care
anything
what
to the
state I'm in. Like they were trying to
Didn't
set
matter.
that it was like this all in disarray.
Yeah.
But if I'm one of those goons, I'm gonna be like, oh, well, there's no reason to have this lamp sitting here. Like let's stand that up and get that over here. Like I don't know. And then the table, the glass table that
Yeah.
had it was the
Oh, the body.
statue,
Mhm.
and then it was holding it up. It looked so funny without the glass on top of it.
Yeah,
it
'cause
was
it was
just
just
it was just a
frozen.
statue with a guy like this, and it's like, but now you have no purpose though. That's yeah, I thought that was funny. Husband in phone. Sometimes I write notes. I'm like, I didn't write enough detail in there. That's oh well. That's yeah, like it's maybe I'm reiterating now because I'm going through these notes, but she must have known the situation. The kid, she's marrying the kid of a rich person, and he's not making money himself, so yeah, like
He even
he's
told
just
her he's going back to Russia to work, and then
Yeah, right.
Then he wants to marry her. And
yeah, and like she didn't
so-
ask question like she didn't ask a question. Well, how would that get you out of going back to work? Like marrying an American woman, like how did you make that leap? Like did they say if you marry an
Mhm.
American woman, then you don't have to come back?
Right.
He just thought like he doesn't
wasn't
think at all. He
thinking.
just thinks like he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So, but she was like, well, why is that the case? Like if you married a woman, like they said you could stay if you married him. She just again didn't want to question it because then she's got to face that this is not real.
Yep.
But I'm wondering, like, why did they even want him to work? Like, he's a loser.
Dope,
Like,
yeah.
why would they even want him to work for the family business? You know what I mean? I did question that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's
Well, I
what's he gonna do for you? This guy's. And I feel like if he's given his protectors so many problems over the time, like they wouldn't let him out of his sight. They wouldn't give him a 2-week period. They said, I don't check in for you for 2 weeks, and you like,
Oh.
yeah, 2 weeks that's a long time
It's
to
enough
not
time to.
for somebody that has a history of doing
Mhm.
whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course. You wonder like, how did he go to Vegas? Because you left him alone for 2 weeks, and he has
And
access
he has
to a
all
plane.
the money.
Yeah. Like, and how does he even get like? You just give him access to everything that you have?
Yeah.
Do you think that rich parents like that have a different? I mean, they must have a different relationship with their kids. Like, do they love them different? Do they see their kids different than like our quote unquote normal parents? Like they're just, it's like they're almost like a product of their family. It's like you represent the family. You have to live by these standards.
depends.
It's like they're more of like a representation to the company that is the family, rather than like I'm always surprised when I see really rich people that are involved with their kids' lives.
Yeah.
Which is so funny to me. Like you would think you have kids, you don't want to pay a nanny. You don't nanny. You don't want a nanny.
Nanny.
You don't want to pay a nanny to take care of your kids. Like you want to be like, wouldn't you think that you have kids because you want and you love the kids and you're like, I want to be a part of every moment of their life.
Oh, I see.
But there's just like, no, my business is more important to me. Like you raise the kids, like you pay people to raise your kids, or look after your kids. It's so funny to me that just the money, the hustle, that personality to drive to make nothing, just do nothing but make money,
Yeah.
is more important than being part of your kid's life. It's like, yeah, you disrespected the family. Well, how about if you were present with this kid in this kid's life? He
I
wouldn't.
can show you a little more respect.
Yeah, the reason why he acts like the way he acts is because you have not shown him that he's part of your life at all.
Yeah.
Like it starts with you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Um, minor thing, but the video game playing, like him playing video games, that's such a turn off to me. Like, I feel so bad for women, and some women don't care, and some women don't
Some
care
women
that
are
women.
gamers, you know.
Some
They're
women are
into
gamers,
it. Hmm.
but if I was a woman and I was dating a guy who even mentioned to me that he plays video games, I would be like, oh, this is not going to work out. Because I just think it's a really unattractive thing to sit in front of to be like this, like
Yeah.
even just for a little bit. Like, I'm like, I don't like that look. Like, it's a sign of things I don't like. And that's, we're not going to gain any fans here by gamers who like, I don't have anything against gaming. Like it's, I'm walking it back immediately for anybody who's like, fuck you. I don't, but I just feel like if I was a gamer and I would do it behind closed doors. I wouldn't want a woman to see me gaming. I would be
That's so
like,
funny.
I'm gonna play some video games. Don't come over here. I don't want you to see me like this.
I feel like that's weird though.
What?
Like that's weird though.
It is.
They need their alone time with their video games. Okay.
That is-
Well,
it is-
then maybe you need your video games more than you need to
You're
see
right.
me.
It is weirder. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer either, and I agree because I'm not into that. So like,
Mhm.
I feel like I would
Yeah.
just like sit there and watch and get bored and
Yeah.
be like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and some women don't care.
But if
Some
you're
women,
into it,
I
then
know
I
women.
feel like that works. You know.
Yeah, there's women who are with guys and they're like, he's got his thing. It's just not a turnoff for them. To me, like, like some people don't like a dirty sink. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't bother me. And like, you know what I mean? Like, if some people walk into a house and there's a dirty sink, they're like, oh, I can't date him. He's got a dirty sink. I'm like, well, I got a dirty sink. So I don't know what to tell you. So we all have our things. But the funny thing is, if I was talking to a woman and she was a gamer, I wouldn't be turned off by that.
Okay.
Which
You're saying like if you were a woman dating a man.
No, if I was a man,
Mhm.
if you were a gamer,
Uh-huh.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna play video games, I would not be turned off by that.
Okay.
I guess to a certain, if it was crazy, like if you were playing all the time, maybe, but
But
that
why?
doesn't.
Like why though?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to a psychologist about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think 'cause there's not the stigma of men throwing hours and hours away. That there is a stigma of men throwing hours away. There isn't that with women. Which maybe isn't true at all. I don't know. I just feel like it just so like it's a stereotype. Guys playing video games. Like, there isn't a stereotype. I don't like anybody like fits into a stereotype. I think maybe is what it is.
Oh.
Like, there isn't a stereotype of women playing video games. So it's like, oh, that's cool. She plays video games.
Okay.
I don't know. Don't ask me follow-up questions about my about my.
I'm just trying to make it make sense.
No, ask follow-up questions. I was kidding. Yeah, she was great at the role. She was great. That fight, like you said, that fight scene. That's no small task to I wonder if that was choreographed. That was a very physical thing they were trying to tie her down, and that was impressive.
Yeah, it was fun.
Shots, yeah. Yeah, she's just screaming rape.
Yeah, just,
yeah. Why are you screaming rape? Why are you screaming rape?
She was screaming and she was like throwing stuff and breaking stuff, and then it just got to the point where like she was, I forget what the turn of events was, but she was just like, all right, I have no other choice but to try to get this person away from me, and she just started screaming at the top of her lungs, rape, and he's like, rape, no, shut up.
Yeah. I don't know how realistic it is or if it matters, but that she wouldn't be more frightened of these people. Like, she was so ballsy with them.
Yeah.
She was just like fighting, scratching for her life.
Yeah, she was a tough woman.
Yeah. But she trusted they weren't going to hit her. Like, what if I was in her position? I would be like, there's nothing stopping these guys from hitting me. Like, they're obviously going to do whatever they have to do to get what they want.
Well, I noticed that initially when they walked in and she was like yelling at the guy, at the big goon guy, the brown-haired one. Like, right in his face.
Right in his face.
And
just waiting for her to smack her.
Yeah, I was like ready for him to just be like, bam. And
I remember
but maybe that was like the point where she was like, oh, okay, he didn't do anything. All right. I have control of this now.
Yeah. Or that she really was emboldened because she thought, this is my house. This is my husband's house. I belong here. You don't belong here. Not realizing.
But I think just Oh, the end was so sad. I just thought the movie was so good because it started off, I think, so elated, and it had so many different parts. It like, went, and then at the end was just so touching and heartbreaking, and man,
I agree. As much as I thought the movie got better as it went, like I said, the first half hour and 44 minutes, it was fun, but I wasn't like, this isn't a great movie.
yeah.
This is like, this is an interesting, you know,
It's a look at like
yeah, right. But it
like
wasn't like, okay, where are we going with this?
yeah.
But then, yeah, it got better. But I think the end, that last scene, made everything like, oh, this is actually a beautiful film. This is a
Yeah.
great piece of work. It kind of made the whole thing, tied the whole thing together. It was really, yeah. I maybe we could jump to that part if you want. Like that's, I mean, I was resisting just opening with that because I think that was just like one of the more beautiful endings to a movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And yeah.
A little closer to the mic when you.
It was really sweet.
um, yeah, you wanted them. I was pulling for them to be together when they were in the room together in the staying in the house the
Yeah,
last
on the
night.
couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I think he liked that about her. He liked because every time she would like yell or like not take shit, he was like, "Yeah," because I think he
yeah.
wanted to do that. Like he was like, "Yeah, like
Yeah, he didn't want to
fuck
be part of that
this."
life.
Like,
He was like taken by her. He was like, "You're better than this. You're better than being with him.
mhm.
You deserve to be with somebody who like he you could tell like he respected her. It was just such a like yeah, I love that guy from the beginning.
I think just before I forget, the fight, like when she was fighting and like I think because you were like, oh, she thought that like this was her husband, this was her house. I think part of her knew that it wasn't. I think in a way
Yeah, right.
she knew all along. And at the end, and that's why it was so heartbreaking because it was just her like breaking down, being like, I know, like I knew this.
Yeah.
And she just like, and he knew it, and she felt comfortable with him and close enough to him, and they didn't need words. And, she just put her head on him and just started crying. And like, yeah.
I thought, and um, I'm interested how like uh, the general public would take that scene. I look at that scene being like anybody who's a little bit fucked up, like can relate to this in a way. Like the fact that she like was fucking him in that state. Like people could judge that, and then to like not want like he was trying to kiss her to be sweet with her.
Mhm.
Like he wanted to be kind
Yeah.
and sweet with her, and then she
And
resisted
she was,
that
that's,
because like she was
yeah.
fighting that. Like she doesn't know how to accept that
Mhm.
in her life, and then like she broke down to be like, yeah, I don't know how to accept your
Kindness.
your tenderness.
Mhm.
I've been through a lot, and I need to, I have things I need to address,
Mhm.
and it's like was all said with nothing,
Mhm.
no words, and then like him just knowing like, yeah, I'm inside of you right now, but that like I'm not even any man who's gentle and sensitive to a woman could be like, I don't want to just get off. I'm not looking to get off here. Like, I wasn't looking to fuck you. Like, I don't want to turn you down because I am attracted to you and this feels good and this is what you want. Like, I'm giving you what you want and like I'm gonna let you do whatever you need. Like, use me however you need to. Like, let me be the punching bag for any men that's made you wrong, like has wronged you.
Mhm.
I'll be that for you. You can fuck me. I'm not going to. You can punch me. I can hold you. Like, let me absorb all of the wrong that has been done to you over the years. It's like, really,
We're
yeah. I
both
was
gonna
just
just
like,
fall.
yeah, I was just like, that was so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, in fact, she was like, "This car is so you."
Yeah. He's like, "Do you like it?" No.
No, so it's my grandfather's car. Um, yeah, it's great. Um, I wish that she had had some humility leaving that club the first night when she was like, "I'm getting married." Fuck, or to the redhead. She's like, "Fuck you." Like you should know that you might have to walk in here with your tail
Yeah.
between your legs.
Coming
Like
back.
that's why I don't ever like I thought that like that's why I'm never confident with anything. I'm like I'll never be like fuck you motherfuckers because the it's not worth the having to come back
The
around with your tail
embarrassment of
between your
yeah.
legs to be like it's never that grand exit is never worth dealing with what if you have to return. Like my
Yeah.
mind is always on the what, but what if I have to return to
Yeah.
this
You
situation?
talk about not burning bridges, like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
you
it's not
never
worth.
know.
It's not worth it.
Even if it's not in that situation, you might have to see them again in another
Yeah.
like
But she kind of cornered her into reacting that way because like everyone else was just nicer. Like she didn't want to leave. Like she was like being kind to everybody.
yeah.
But that one
Yeah, I feel like
absolute bitch
the
redhead.
ginger always kind of instigated with her.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe you had that response like no fuck you. Like you
Yeah.
just want to rub her face in it
Yeah.
and just hope you don't have to deal with it later. So she was just one of the. I hated her so goddamn much.
Yeah, she was.
And this is not
obnoxious.
this is superficial, but um she wasn't hot enough to buy the last scene when she like out of all the women in the club, like she went after him. If I was him, I wouldn't have been like.
Yeah, but he was so fucked up anyway.
I
Like
guess
it
you're
could have
right.
been
Yeah,
anybody.
and like she showed him the attention, and he just
yeah.
went with it.
He was already talking to women, and
Yeah.
she just pushed her away. It was more just her forcefully taking.
Do you
him.
think that she was cast because she? I feel bad for the actress, but like anyone else maybe wouldn't have been as hateable. Like she kind of had a hateable look.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot. Like just some actors, actresses, like
Yeah,
their face just makes you angry, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, you're perfect for this because you can't
Wouldn't
look
that
at you
suck?
and not like get
Wouldn't that suck to be like,
angry.
oh, you're perfect for a role? This woman that everyone needs to hate right away.
Yeah.
Like that's you.
That's you.
They can look at you and immediately be like, I don't like this person. You're hired, and you have to be like, well, I wanted
Wait,
the
why?
job, but is this worth it? Yeah, the Goon and Anora would make a great couple, a cute couple. Anora, yeah, it's so much better than Annie. What they were calling her.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great name, Anora. Yeah. I love they didn't have guns. You know, the like that wasn't. Do we know?
Oh.
By the way, was his business legal? Like was this like a Russian?
Father?
Yeah, was this like a Russian
Yeah,
mob
I don't
situation?
know. I don't know if I didn't get a clear answer for that. That's what I assumed, but maybe.
But the thing, yeah, that's what I think I assumed for a lot of it too. But the fact that she was like, "You shamed our family name," makes you think like they're more of like a public name,
oh,
which
mm,
wouldn't be
like more
something that an illegal
prestigious.
family does.
Yeah, right.
You know, like they're not in the news and like you're worried about being shamed. That's the lifestyle. Is
Yeah.
you know, nobody's like, can you believe this mobster's son married a
Maybe.
prostitute? It's like, yeah, no, 100%. I would find it hard to believe he married an upstanding citizen. So I assume that it was a legal venture, whatever it was that how they got their money. So maybe guns wouldn't be as involved. Like they're security. They're not mobsters.
Mhm.
They're just paid to take care of people. That court scene was hilarious.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is she talking? She shouldn't be talking.
All right, Camel. It's
Yeah.
the nickname.
Yeah. I love that they had to stop to eat. I love in movies like those movies where like you follow these people for 24 hours.
Yeah. So
And they never
Mhm.
eat or like I was like, okay, yeah. They're out of ideas, they don't know where to go. So all right, well we might as well
just
stop,
recoup.
a little
Uh-huh.
bit. Let's get something to eat. We'll go to a
Yeah.
diner. And and then he was like, even as he's like, I gotta ask these people if they've seen him. Like they went to
Get
like
back
the
on
Russian
track.
area of Brooklyn, and it's like
What was that? Brighton Beach.
Brighton Beach. Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked that whole segment of them leaving the house and going on the hunt for him. I thought that was a really cool, like, kind of how they formed like a little community together. Like
Yeah.
they just like
Right. But it wasn't like where that
dysfunctional family type of
right.
situation.
Whereas like where some movies that would be the whole story, like the whole movie would be like searching for him. It was a section of it, a good part of it,
Yeah.
but just enough of it. An act that was like act two. I think there's more than usually a movie has 3 acts. So the fact it's had more than that if it's possible. I think that's really it. The dad laughing at the end was really funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tushy or Tush. When
Oh
he said
yeah,
Tush,
touche.
there was a lot of big laughs on one word, like the assault, and then the Tush. And there was another one that I don't know if I wrote
Yeah.
down,
Oh, you didn't write.
but there was another one
Something
word laugh
else.
line where they were just like all it took was one word
Yeah.
for them to say, and he was like Tush, and
And
she was
she's
like
like,
Tush,
touche.
touche. Yeah,
She's like, you should learn English before you, right? Get like
yeah,
perfect your English before you
yes.
start
Perfect your
learning
English
French
before you
or
start
whatever.
learning your French. Yeah, that was really great. Um, and then I was curious about that last day. It was like, were they waiting for a day for it to snow, or did they luck out? Because I think that was perfect
Oh, that was
to
really
shoot
beautiful.
in a snowy on a snowy day in New York. Like,
Yeah.
were they like, all right, let's just wait. Everybody's on call, waiting for a snowy day, and then when it snows, we'll shoot this scene. Or they're like, oh, it's snowing. That would be cool. We should shoot this scene today in the snow. That would be, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're shooting in New York. There's no guarantee all year that it's going to snow.
Right.
So yeah, like it seemed like it was real. Maybe they made fake snow. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a big CGI movie. Seemed like they were pretty much run on a low budget. And then my last note was just the last scene.
Last
like we
scene.
weren't going to talk about that. I had
Yeah. You
had
had
to
to
remind
remember.
myself. Yeah. Yeah, gorgeous. Loved it. I'm so happy that this is why I like doing this Oscar thing, because I probably wouldn't have gone to see this movie. Maybe eventually I would have seen it, but I probably not, because so often I see, oh, maybe I'll check that movie out, and there's just a list of movies I
list,
say
yeah.
I'm going to see and I never see. So
And we wrote
this
more
is
movies down to watch during the
well,
previews.
movies that we've seen before. Each of us has seen. But
Yeah.
oh, you never seen this? We should watch this. So like, yeah, but
Just
I mean, this
backlog.
show will probably mostly theater, movies, current, new releases, but eventually we'll start branching out into when we make a ton of followers, we'll have a Patreon and there'll be live watchers of Pretty Woman
Yeah.
and Harold the
Harold
Maude.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Just like if anybody cares or gets grossed out, there is puke. I think we mentioned it, but there's a puke scene. So,
yeah, Monique is
Look
very
away.
sensitive to puke scenes.
Oh my God.
I've never really considered it, but ever since we've met and watching things together, I realized how prevalent puking is in
It's
anything.
everywhere.
It's crazy.
In every
It's really
freaking
crazy.
movie.
Like everything I watch, I'm like, oh, like
Yeah.
that. Monique couldn't watch
The
that.
shows, like they just have to throw it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's gross, but this was you missed. You didn't miss anything, but it was a good one. Like it was like funny.
The scene?
Yeah,
Oh.
like it was disgusting because they're
You
like,
missed
and I
the good
don't want to even describe it because you have a
That's fine.
pretty vivid imagination, but
Yeah,
the way that they like did
I
it.
think the reason, like leading up to him puking, was funny. Like the whole thing of because he got kicked in the face and then he got the pain meds and he's like, "Don't take all of them," and he just popped all of them at
Yeah.
the same time, and then he started getting sick, and I was like, "Oh God, that makes sense."
Yeah, and then it was just how much it was, and then through his fingers, it was funny. Yeah, sorry. It's like I said, I wasn't going to
Yeah,
say it. but
you
I
got
said
it. You had to do it.
And it was like foamy and white.
Oh.
Oh, gross. So that was, I think
that note.
that was the best reviewed movies thus far out of the 3 we've done for the year. So far, that's my pick for best picture of the year. Anora. I mean, there's a lot more to go, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot more to go. But love it.
Yeah.
If you, I was going to say go see Anora, but the premise of this is you've already seen it and you wanted to hear other people talk about it. So I hope you liked Anora as much as we did. And thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.